on with the rambling. So here we go. For those that are looking at the video here, this is a different style podcast that I'm trying out, which is Tate AMA. So I'm recording a couple of the questions that I'm going to throw out on the Instagram because that's where the questions came from. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the help, of submitting the questions. Anytime we do this, if I get over 100 answers, I'll pop something out there for free for you guys. So tomorrow, this will post today sometime. So tomorrow I will post up a free ebook on my Instagram page, which is @underthebar. And there we go. So looking through some of the questions as I grab my papers here. This is crazy when you're a washed up meathead. It's fucked up when you have to have a different set of glasses because bifocals drive you absolutely insane. So here we go. How has your pursuit of strength changed your inner strength, and how has it shaped your view on adversity in life? So how has my strength training, I assume is what's being asked here, or my pursuit of strength, changed my inner strength? I think it changed it a lot. So for those that don't know, my pursuit of strength started as a preteen at a time when my inner strength wasn't good. Let's just put it that way. So it was, I would say, how has it impacted my inner strength? It's impacted me tremendously, but it's not about me, I guess, is where I'm trying to go with this. Is I don't want to leave this false impression that the harder somebody works in the gym, the harder they're going to be able to become at handling adversity in life, because I'm not so certain that that's true. And just as I'm not so certain that the sport coaches that just run people's dick into the dirt and ass into the ground, in pursuit of mental strength, I don't know about that. Over a period of time, I think there's a lot of factors that kind of go into play with this, where personally what I've seen, and I'll touch on that because I've been doing this since I was 12 years old. So what I've seen is creating an outlet, for one thing, to be able to let out frustration, I suppose, but also to be able to be able to, I don't want to say, I'm going to say stupid shit I'm going to regret, like unleash the inner beast, stupid shit like that. But I do believe that the challenge of the pursuit of maximal strength, or the pursuit of your absolute strength, trying to push yourself to a level that it's never been before, and a level that may very well be exceeding the level that you're really capable of in a weird way. Hopefully you guys understand what I'm talking about with that. But pushing yourself to places that you didn't think you would be able to do, I definitely think that has impacted my life in a lot of different ways, because, life is adversity. So on the flip side of all that, the training is a way for me to take and, in my way, take and deal with a lot of the adversity that I have, just to be able to get it out. So where am I going with my rambling here? So to directly answer the question, yes, it's had a huge impact on my ability to overcome adversity. But the one thing that people need to keep in mind who are listening to this, maybe helping other people with their adversity or dealing with your own adverse situations, is your adverse situation, the most adverse situation that you've ever had to deal with is still your most adverse situation. So what do I mean by that? When we're younger and have adversity, even as children, that adversity is the worst thing that's ever happened. As you get older, you kind of look back and you say, oh, that was kind of stupid. Maybe not. Maybe your ability to go through that adversity is what makes you be able to look back a couple years later and say, that really wasn't that bad, because what I'm dealing with right now is way fucking harder than what that was. So what training can do, and has done for me, is to be able to teach me that stacking, that adversity. So works the same way in the gym. Let me explain. So the hardest workout I've ever had, it's still the hardest workout I've ever had. So can I beat that hardest workout I've ever had? Yeah, probably. But after you've already had it, your basis of comparison of what is hard changes. I'll use the train your ass off as an example. When I do those, bring people out, teach them the squat, teach them the main lifts, spend a lot of time dialing in the technique, showing them exercises for weak points, all that. It's not relevant to what I'm talking about here. Then I'll take them through a training session and just beat the shit out of them. The purpose of that is to show them that the hardest training session they've ever had wasn't that hard. So, am I trying to say you need to train that hard all the time? By no means, no. I'm very clear telling them, don't ever do this again. This is absolutely not something that's going to be able to move you forward in the short term by doing it over and over again. Would you be able to adapt over a period of time? Most definitely. Is it necessary? No, it's very extreme. But the point is, when I can take them through that and say, this is an RPE or effort, however you want to define it, of 10. This is what I see at 10. This is the effort that I see as a 10. Now, where I think you need to train supplemental exercises will probably be a 6 or 7, accessories maybe at a 4 or 5. If I don't have that base of standard, I guess is what we'll say, if I don't have that established standard of 10, then how's somebody to know what is that 6 or 7? Because what they currently, or before that, what they currently thought was a 10, they might now realize was only a 6. So that changes how they're going to approach the mental approach, some of the physical approaches with their training moving forward. So what do I mean? What I mean here is the same thing with adversity. So if the most adverse thing a 12-year-old has is breaking up with their first girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever you want to call that situation, that's adverse, man. That's hard. The first breakup it's hard, man. It's devastating. It might be the worst thing that they've ever had to go through. As you get older, there's a lot worse things that you're going to be able to run into. But if you've walked into adversity head on enough times, you're going to begin to realize that a lot of the things you used to get really upset about aren't worth being upset about at all. Most of it was just an overreaction. And it's true in almost every case, but you don't know that if that's the highest level of adversity you've ever been able to put yourself under. So to circle back, am I saying that if you train very adverse and you train very hard, you do max effort work, you do challenge sets, is that going to make you be able to handle life's adversity better? I don't know, right? That's not my point. My point being is your level of what's hard and your level of what's adverse is going to be able to change. And if you're always in pursuit of leaning into adversity and trying to figure out, why did this happen, how to correct it, how to pivot, how to make it so it doesn't happen again, and how to move forward. And then instead of always trying to avoid it, and I'm not telling you to live an adverse life or you do stupid shit 100% of the time. I'm not telling you to do that. Life's full of adversity without you going out and trying to create your own. What I'm trying to say is when you run into it, lean into it. Don't turn away and run, because you always need to be in pursuit of what's something that's more adverse to deal with, that I can tackle, that I can take on, that can be a challenge. Because if you do that, then you're going to be prepared for the next thing that comes that might be a little bit more adverse. If you spend your whole entire fucking life being sheltered and, hiding and not putting yourself out there and not being willing to stick your neck out and get your fucking face punched and, hitting the ground and all this other kind of stuff, if you're not willing to do all those different things, then your level of being able to manage adversity is going to suck. And then when it hits, it's going to send you so far back because you're going to be frustrated, you're going to be pissed off, you're going to spend your basically all this time just stressing out about shit you have no control over. Here's this example. It's not legal advice in any way, but anybody that's had to go through any legal debacle or whatever you want to call it, any legal situation, definitely that's adversity. But it's also, God, I don't want to say this. I don't wish it upon anybody, but I kind of do, because I think it teaches us a lot about how to manage stress and how to handle adversity. Because say you get hit with a lawsuit, whatever that legal situation is, as soon as you get it, and say it's the very first time that you've had to go through something like this, you get that, it freaks you the fuck out, and you're just duck going, searching everything. I don't want to use the other search browser, right? So you're searching everything, you're trying to compile everything, you're going through all your records, you're going through everything you can possibly find. Basically, you're being a paralegal without knowing what a paralegal does and spending days just compiling all this information, and then you'll decide to seek professional help, a lawyer, to help, which I would now advise you probably do before you even do all that other shit. But you're not going to if it's the first time. I've seen it happen too many times. You're not going to. You're going to stress out about it. You're going to call people. You're going to talk to as many people as you can that have been through the same situation. And most of them are going to tell you all exactly the same thing. Just chill the fuck out, and you're not going to know what the hell they're talking about. So what happens is, in short, you'll get a hold of your attorney sends a letter. So you already got a letter, your attorney sends a letter back, you got to wait 7 days for the reply, you're freaking out for the 7 days, going through your mind, what if this, what if this, what if this, well, if they say this, we'll do this, if they say this, we'll do this. Keep in mind, these are not conversations you're having with your attorney, you've already had those, and he's already, or she has already said, okay, we're going to send this, we'll wait to see what comes back, and we'll just take it from there. And then they go about their life, because your case is not their life. Your case is your life. But what I'm trying to say here is it can't be your life, because what happens is most of these situations do not resolve in a week or 2 weeks. They resolve in a long ass period of time. So if you're in this constant pursuit of what happens here, what happens here, what happens here, if this happens, then we do this, if this happens, we do this. What typically happens is when you do finally get that reply, whatever your next step is going to be is probably not going to be any of the steps that you've already thought about. It's going to be something completely different. And then once it's all over, a year or years later, and then you look back on it all, the way that it ended up resolving itself wasn't any of the worst case situations that went through your head for months or years. So it wasn't as awful as you thought it was going to be. And it also wasn't as good as you thought it was going to be. It's just what it was. But in the advice that I was given the first time I had to go through something like this, I respected the advice, but I didn't take it. Now I understand, being through things like this many times. Now I understand. You can talk, you deal with the situation. Here's letter, here's this. You consult with the attorney, come up with what they're going to do, send the letter, fucking forget about it. Go about your life. Wait the 7 days until the reply or whatever comes through. And then deal with it then. Go about your life. Forget about it. Here's the deal. It's going to cost you. You know that. Anything legal is going to cost you a fucking assload. So it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you revenue, the expenses and legal fees and all the other kind of stuff. It's going to cost you in time, the time that you're going to have to deal with the attorney and the other work that you may have to do that's directly associated with that. What it doesn't have to cost you is all the other time that you're spending stressing out about it, freaking out about it, asking yourself what if and what the next situation, what the next plan is going to be. That right there, that is what's going to destroy you, and that is what's going to tank your business. Because if it's a business situation and all you're doing is this what if, and during that waiting period, then you're not selling, you're not building your business, you're not creating better systems, you're not doing the things that you need to do to be able to grow the business, because you're actually putting everything on pause. So you end up destroying the business because of your own inability to separate yourself from what that situation is. So where am I going here? This is the same as that adversity thing. You have to build that ability to be able to separate it and deal with it. So then the next time it's not a big deal. It's like, fuck it, okay, do this, take care of it. And then it gets to a point where some of it's just delegated moving forward. So in essence, that's kind of the same adversity that I'm talking about, is if that ability to be able to, let's just say, deal with adversity isn't developed and built upon, it's not the adversity or the adverse situation that's going to destroy you mentally, emotionally, financially. It's your reaction that will.